debut show featured the following card. Macho Man Randy Savage defeated Gentleman Chris Adams. Rick Martel defeated Louis Spicolli, who would die just months after this, sadly. Hiroyoshi Tenzin defeated Michiyoshi Ohara. Ric Flair defeated Chris Jericho. The Giant defeated Meng. Bill Goldberg defeated Steve McMichael in a bout of two football players just brawling and not knowing how to wrestle. Steiner Brothers defeated Buff Bagwell and Conan of the NWO. Ray Taylor defeated Scott Hall. Of course, Ray Taylor being the former Big Boss Man. Juventud Guerrera defeated Ultimo Dragon to win the WCW Cruiserweight Championship. Lex Luger defeated Scott Flash Norton. And Diamond Dallas Page defeated Big Sexy Kevin Nash by DQ to retain the WCW United States Championship. Quite a snapshot of the late 90s there, Pasty, or mid-90s. Late 90s, yeah.
Yes, indeed. It's a good lineup. That's a show I would watch.
And you got to see how WCW was back then. You had the veterans like your Randy Savage, your Kevin Nash, your Lex Luger. You had your big guy, your famous guys from overseas with your Tenzin, O'Hara. Scott Flash Norton was a New Japan mainstay. You had young folks like The Giant, Chris Jericho, Buff Bagwell. You had the NWO with your Scott Hall. You had Ric Flair. I mean, it just really, the Cruiserweights, Juventud and Ultimo Guerrero, or Ultimo Dragon, it was really, back then, they had a little something for everybody on your WCW card.
Yes, indeed. Tasty, tasty times.
It's tasty for pasty.
2020 really makes me miss the 90s.
Waking up in the morning makes me really miss the 90s.
Yeah. The member berries just aren't doing it anymore. Fuck your nostalgia. If I'm not back in the 90s, it don't count.
Yeah.
One thing that always makes me feel young again, though, is a good New Japan Pro Wrestling pay-per-view.
But when will we get one, Pasty?
Not sure, Fat Mac. But we're about to give you the results for Wrestle Kingdom 15.
Yes, Pasty, we did predictions for what we could predict, although there were a handful of matches that were completely up in the air at the time of predictions. And I think, full disclosure, both Pasty and I didn't watch every match. I plan on going back and watching most of the matches, if not a handful of them, so the grades and scores and best matches and everything that I give are going to be tentative. But I think they're probably still pretty spot on. Is that about the same with you, Pasty?
Yeah. I didn't watch a whole lot, and I think the first thing that kind of put me off was starting the event. And they panned this huge stadium, still relatively packed full of people, and then said that they're not allowed to make audible noises, but you'll hear stomping and clapping throughout the night. And I'm like, well, what's the point of any of that then?
They're still breathing. It's like, if you're going to have them there, have them make noise. If you're not, if you don't want them to spread it, don't have them there. Have a minimum capacity.
Right.
Yeah, I agree.
I wouldn't want to go to that show because I'd probably still get hype and then get dragged out of there, and that wouldn't be fun.
Exactly. Yeah, made no sense. 100% made no sense, and affected it going forward, I think.
I definitely think so. It was off-putting to start, and I only made it through, I'd say, about the first hour of the first night. And then I got sidetracked on stuff and ended up watching Dynamite. And I'm like, oh, that's my wrestling for the week.
Right.
But to kick off night one on the pre-show, we had a 21-man New Japan Rumble to determine the challengers for the King of Pro Wrestling 2021 trophy. Yes, New Japan is competing for the longest match title, too.
WWE's still beating them, though.
Yeah.
WWE's
Chase
still
Owens,
holding true.
Bad Luck Fale, Bushi, and Toru Yano advanced.
Yes, Pasty, I did not watch this. Although, I love Toru Yano, and I did not watch the match that came from this either, but I want to go back just to see what kind of shenanigans he pulls in a match that features, Chase, Fale, and Bushi, which Toru Yano being such a silly, out there character. It's I want to see it just to see what happens.
I
Doesn't
didn't watch this, but I'm fairly certain I heard Toru Yano didn't even have to compete in the match. He was the last entrant, and then the two guys that were still in the ring eliminated each other.
Oh, are you serious?
Yeah.
That sounds right for Toru
Yeah.
Yano. I mean,
Yeah.
for folks who don't listen to New Japan, he's really he's your comedic relief, but I dare say he's not as annoying because most things in New Japan are so serious. He's the one comedic relief, and he kind of goes all out. So I don't know. I find it better than, say, a Santino Marella or whatnot. That's just me. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm not. I don't know.
And then to start off the main show, a man in a top hat carried a baby out from the back. That was a thing that happened, and I'm not.
That's
sure
how they
why.
start every Wrestle Kingdom pasty. The man in the top hat bringing out the baby. They put it on the torch, light it on fire, and then they all have baby back ribs afterwards, while chanting the holiest of chants. I want my baby back, baby back, baby back. I want my baby back, baby back. Chili's baby back ribs.
Is that where the Dark Order got that
barbecue
spot
sauce? Yeah, exactly. And then that brought us to the number one contender IWGP Junior Heavyweight Championship. To start out night one, Hiromu Takahashi defeated El Phantasmo in a match that I can only imagine happened.
Yeah.
Love Takahashi. Phantasmo is okay in my book. Pasty, I believe you saw this one?
Yes, I did see this one. I thought it was a decent way to kick it off. It was a good match, and Phantasmo was better than I think you think he is.
He's good. He's good. I mean, he's good.
Yeah.
He didn't win.
No.
Not that good.
Then we had the IWGP Tag Team Championship, seeing the Gorillas of Destiny, that's Tama Tonga and Tonga Loa, if you didn't know, defeating the Dangerous Trekkers, Tai Chi and Zack Sabre Jr.
Pasty, they are not red shirts. They are Tekkers, not Trekkers.
They should be Trekkers.
Yeah, it's kind of cool to see God, BC, the Tongas pick up the championship. I could easily see them, depending on how the pandemic plays out going forward, I could see them being tag team of the year for Beefy's 2021.
Uh-huh. And of course, them winning the tag team championships is just perfect for that theory that they're going to be working with AEW sometime in the future. You know, you got to bring them back up to the top for that kind of.
Yeah, there's a few things that drew speculation to that, and of course, hey, New Japan doesn't have a trios title. If AEW brings a trios title, of course, there's Tonga Roa, who kind of usually gets the short end of the shaft on the God train. I would love to see the three of them be a trios champion.
That would be awesome. Looking forward to seeing what they have to bring as champions once more.
I am sad to see Zack Sabre Jr. lose, though, but I am glad to see these guys win it. Moving on, we got number one contender to the IWGP United States Championship, which is currently held by Moxley. We have Kenta, who is the current number one contender, defeating Satoshi Kojima to keep his spot.
Yes.
I haven't watched this match, but I want to because I absolutely love Kenta. Kojima is super solid, and actually, he's one of those people he's probably never going to be a main guy, but you can put him with almost anybody and you're going to get a good match.
Mm-hmm.
So him, Kenta, I can only imagine is going to be great. Did you catch this one?
I believe I did, but at this point I was pretty checked out.
All right.
At this point I knew I wasn't really going to watch the whole thing.
So you made the mistake of watching the beginning first and the last part later. You got to start with the last few and then get into the first few.
Oh yeah. I know how that goes. It's 8 hours of fucking wrestling.
And New Japan is one of the few promotions that usually has like their last three are their best three, and their first three are probably their worst three. It's like they kind of really do build up.
Yes. I'm looking forward to Kenta Moxley though. That's gonna be a fun time.
I can't wait for it, buddy.
That could be Moxley's best match outside of WWE yet.
Right. I don't know when we'll get it. Of course, with all the restraints and everything with travel.
Moxley came out in the pay-per-view, said he'd be defending in that next. I guess it depends on travel restraints, but the next New Japan show on American soil, the title is escaped me.
The title is Escape. New Japan escaped me, folks. You heard it here first. Jon Moxley versus Kenta, U.S. Championship. New Japan escaped me. No, I don't know.
Then we saw.
Yeah, I don't know if there's what the quarantine time is going into America. I know going into Japan, I think it's still 2 weeks.
Yeah. Yeah, that's what I had heard when I heard that Kenta came to America and that he was like laying low for 2 weeks when I had thought he was going to be at the last AEW pay-per-view.
Yeah.
So we'll see. It still bodes well for the future, just depending on when that future begins.
Correct.
And then we saw Hiroshi Tanahashi defeat Great-O-Khan.
Oh, Great-O-Khan. I kind of want to go back. I want to watch the whole thing, but I want to watch this because, of course, Tanahashi, the ace, amazing. He's easily the John Cena of New Japan. And Great-O-Khan, he's a really intriguing beast. And he's come back after being gone for years, and I was intrigued with what I seen of him before. And I think he's going to be big in 2021, Pasty. I think he is. Especially as part of the Empire with Will Ospreay and B. Priestley. Yes. I think he's going to be big. We then had, speaking of Will Ospreay, a grudge match. Kazuchika Okada defeated Will Ospreay. 35 minutes, 41 seconds, Pasty. Can't have a Kazuchika Okada match that I miss. I caught this one for sure.
Yeah.
Did you catch this one?
I didn't. I do want to go back and watch it. I've heard lots of good things about this one, and maybe I'll enjoy a Will Ospreay match for once.
I'll tell you what, this pandemic has done good things for Okada because he looked in the best shape of his career. I just wanted to fuck the guy.
Did he have good Jinder Mahal veins going on?
Oh, no, he did not. He actually looked sexy. One thing I didn't realize, Rocky Romero brought up the fact that Okada had not used the Rainmaker since Wrestle Kingdom of last year. So with such few opportunities to see New Japan this year, I didn't notice that. So that was kind of a cool little. First of all, that was a cool little trivia thing. Second of all, you knew you were going to see a couple Rainmakers.
Okada wrestles matches without using the Rainmaker. That's nice. You don't get that in wrestling.
You don't see a lot. We were just talking about that with the Quail thing.
Yeah.
Sometimes, this is a main event guy who went an entire calendar year without using his main finisher. Of course, he uses the tombstone, and he has multiple other finishes. But yeah, I think that's